Most people do not arrive in Bali with an empty mind. Long before they board the plane, they have already seen the beaches, the rice terraces, the infinity pools, the sunsets, and the social media videos that help turn the island into one of the most famous travel destinations on Earth. For many travelers, Bali exists in their imagination long before they ever set foot on the island. It becomes a symbol of paradise, a place where life moves more slowly, where beautiful scenery appears around every corner, and where the stresses of everyday life seem to fade away. That image has attracted millions of visitors over the years. Families, backpackers, honeymooners, digital nomads, surfers, and luxury travelers have all arrived searching for their own version of the Bali experience. Yet something interesting has started happening in recent years. More travelers are returning home saying the island feels different from what they expected. Some describe it as more crowded. Others talk about traffic, rising prices, or the rapid pace of development. A few even wonder whether Bali has somehow lost the magic that made it famous in the first place. These conversations have created a question that appears more often than ever before. What actually happened to Bali tourism? The answer is not as simple as many people expect. Contrary to what some headlines suggest, Bali tourism did not disappear. In many ways, the opposite happened. The island became more popular than ever. That popularity brought enormous benefits. Tourism created jobs, supported businesses, improved infrastructure, and helped transform Bali into a globally recognized destination. At the same time, success created new challenges that were far less visible when Bali first became famous. The more people arrived, the more pressure was placed on roads, communities, attractions, beaches, and local infrastructure. This is where many travelers begin noticing a difference. The Bali they imagined is often based on images captured years ago, while the Bali they experience today is shaped by millions of people pursuing those same images. Around this point, many visitors experience the first major realization. The biggest thing that happened to Bali tourism is not that people stopped coming. It is that so many people came that the experience itself began changing. That realization helps explain many of the conversations happening online. Travelers are often not comparing Bali to other destinations. They are comparing today's Bali to the version of Bali they imagined before arriving. For some visitors, the island still exceeds expectations. The scenery remains beautiful, the culture remains unique, and the hospitality continues attracting people from around the world. For others, the reality feels different from the dream they carried with them. Traffic is one of the most commonly mentioned examples. Roads that once felt manageable now handle enormous numbers of vehicles, particularly in some of the island's most popular areas. Visitors often find themselves spending more time moving between destinations than they expected. What appears close on a map can sometimes require far longer journeys than anticipated. The issue is not unique to Bali. Many successful tourism destinations eventually face similar challenges as visitor numbers grow. Yet because Bali became associated with relaxation and escape, these experiences can feel especially noticeable when they conflict with expectations. Crowds create a similar effect. A traveler may arrive expecting peaceful scenery and discover that thousands of other people arrived hoping to experience the exact same thing. The attraction itself may still be beautiful. The challenge is that everyone else knows about it too. This creates one of the great paradoxes of modern travel. Social media helps people discover amazing destinations, but the more successful those destinations become online, the harder it becomes to experience them the way earlier visitors once did. Around this stage, many travelers reach another important realization. They are not competing with Bali's past. They are competing with Bali's popularity. That distinction changes everything. The island itself remains beautiful. The culture remains fascinating. The landscapes remain impressive. What changed is the number of people seeking those experiences at the same time. Digital nomads have also become part of the conversation. Bali developed a reputation as one of the world's most attractive remote work destinations, attracting entrepreneurs, freelancers, and online workers from across the globe. Their arrival brought investment, international attention, and economic opportunities. It also contributed to changes that some long-term visitors quickly noticed. New businesses appeared. New accommodation options emerged. Entire neighborhoods began evolving to serve a growing international community. For some people, these changes improved the experience. For others, they altered the atmosphere they originally came to find. Prices became another topic travelers discussed more frequently. While Bali often remains affordable compared to many Western destinations, costs in some areas have increased noticeably as demand has grown. This creates different experiences depending on the traveler. Someone arriving from a major Western city may still view Bali as excellent value, while someone returning after several years may be surprised by how much has changed. The conversation often becomes emotional because Bali occupies a special place in the minds of many travelers. People do not simply visit Bali. They often form strong expectations about what the island represents. When reality differs from those expectations, disappointment can sometimes follow. Yet focusing only on the negatives misses an important part of the story. Millions of people continue choosing Bali every year because many of the qualities that made it famous still exist. Beautiful beaches, dramatic landscapes, rich cultural traditions, vibrant food scenes, and warm hospitality continue attracting visitors from around the world. The island's appeal did not vanish. It evolved. That evolution is easier to understand when viewed through a broader lens. Bali is no longer a hidden destination discovered by adventurous travelers. It has become a global tourism brand recognized almost everywhere. Very few destinations remain unchanged after reaching that level of popularity. The same forces that made Bali famous also transformed it. This explains why traveler opinions often vary so dramatically. Two people can visit the same island and leave with completely different impressions depending on what they were hoping to find. Someone searching for luxury resorts, excellent restaurants, and international conveniences may find Bali more appealing than ever. Someone searching for isolation and undiscovered locations may feel differently. Neither perspective is necessarily wrong. They simply reflect different expectations meeting the same reality. Many experienced travelers eventually stop asking whether Bali has changed. Instead, they ask a different question. What kind of Bali are you looking for? The answer often determines the experience. Those willing to explore beyond the most heavily visited areas frequently discover quieter villages, less crowded beaches, and experiences that feel very different from the viral images dominating social media. Others remain within the island's most famous tourism zones and encounter a version of Bali shaped heavily by international demand. Both versions exist simultaneously. This may be one of the most important things travelers can understand about Bali today. The island is not a single experience. It is a collection of very different experiences that depend heavily on where you go and what you are seeking. As tourism continues growing, that diversity may become even more important. Visitors who arrive with flexibility and realistic expectations often discover far more than those searching for a perfect recreation of someone else's social media feed. Perhaps that is the real story behind Bali tourism. The island did not lose its appeal. It became a victim of its own success. The very qualities that attracted travelers from around the world created the popularity that eventually transformed the experience itself. Yet despite all the changes, Bali continues attracting millions of visitors because the island still offers something people desperately want. Beauty, culture, escape, adventure, and the possibility of experiencing life differently for a while. The challenge is no longer finding Bali. The challenge is deciding which version of Bali you hope to experience. And that naturally leads to another fascinating question. If Bali's popularity,